This place exists. It's inside the United States. But civilians are not allowed to visit. No tours. No public access. No explanations are ever given. Maps don't clearly label it. Photos are extremely limited. And the rules haven't changed, even decades later. So what is this place? And why is it still completely off limits? This is the story of a location hidden in plain sight, a place you can't go. Across America, most land is accessible. We have national parks, historic sites, and even military museums open to the public. But this location is different. It's a complete exception. Even just getting close can trigger immediate warnings. Signs seem to appear out of nowhere, suddenly lining the road. Then, the roads just stop without any explanation. And beyond those barriers, nothing is open to the public. There are no visitor centers, no public records explaining why, and no one to ask. All you'll find are restrictions, fences, and the promise of a swift response if you cross them. For decades, this has been the reality. A piece of American soil, sealed off from its own people. So how did this happen? How does a place become so restricted? The site wasn't always this famous or this mysterious. At first, it was created for a very specific, official purpose. It was designed for limited access and strict control from day one. But over time, its role quietly expanded as its mission grew. So did the security measures surrounding it. The boundaries widened, pushing the public further and further away. What began as a controlled area for official business eventually became completely and permanently closed. And once that access was removed, it never, ever returned. The gates were locked, and they have stayed locked ever since. Now, many sensitive locations have security, but this one has layers upon layers. We're talking about more than just fences. There are extensive airspace restrictions, meaning you can't even fly over it. Surveillance warnings are posted everywhere, and it's understood that the entire area is under constant monitoring. Even the nearby towns and landscapes feel watched. Locals who live in the vicinity know better than to ask too many questions, and any visitors who stumble upon the perimeter and ignore the rules are turned away immediately. There are no explanations given. There's no discussion. There's just firm, unwavering enforcement. The message is crystal clear. You are not welcome here. So what is it that draws so much attention to this place? It isn't just the restriction itself. It's the profound silence that surrounds it. Officially, very little is ever said. When journalists or researchers file requests for information, the responses they get are famously vague. There are no timelines offered, no detailed descriptions of activities, and no clear answers. It's that deliberate lack of clarity that fuels so much speculation, and that speculation quickly turns into intense curiosity. When the story is incomplete, people naturally want to fill in the blanks. The mystery isn't an accident. It's a byproduct of the secrecy itself, while specific details are intentionally limited. Some things are undeniably clear. First, the site is still active. This isn't some forgotten relic of the past. It's a functioning, operational facility. Second, the security remains as strict as it has ever been. The rules haven't relaxed with time. If anything, the technology used to enforce them has only become more advanced. And finally, access is still completely denied to all civilians. No exceptions. Whatever happens there is considered important enough, sensitive enough, to remain protected from public view, even now, in an age of information. The need for secrecy hasn't faded. Ultimately, places like this raise fundamental questions. Why keep a site closed for so long? For generations? Why not explain its purpose, even in general terms, once a certain amount of time has passed? Restricted locations like this one remind us that not everything in the world is visible or transparent, and perhaps not everything is meant to be. They challenge our assumption that we have a right to know everything. Sometimes, the most important clues about a place are found not in what we can see, but in the very fact that we're not allowed to see it at all. The restriction itself tells a story. This American site remains off limits, not because people forgot about it, But because the strict restrictions have never, ever ended, and as long as access is denied, the questions will remain. What is its purpose? What happens behind those fences? Some places don't need giant signs to tell you they're important. Their silence says more than enough. Thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, consider subscribing for more stories about the hidden corners of our world.